am Michelle. I'm a midwife at Charleston Birthplace, and I'm going to talk you through the stages of labor. The first stage of labor is 0 centimeters to 10 centimeters, so it spans a wide part of your labor. Early labor tends to be kind of more mild, sometimes irregular, spaced out contractions, and most labors get just progressively closer, and as their contractions are getting closer, they're strengthening. So that whole part of the first stage is just letting your contractions get longer and stronger, starting to breathe through it a little bit, working hard, and then eventually in that stage you'll transition to the birth center when you're in a good active labor pattern. And then from that point forward, it's just kind of working through contractions, getting to that point where you're fully dilated at 10 centimeters. As you're entering the part of pushing out your baby, when you're just awaiting for physiologic kind of pushing to happen, you tend to start to feel a lot of pressure in your bottom that just comes with contractions. And then eventually you'll start feeling pressure that stays between contractions. And then eventually that urge to really bear down with them will come. We try to wait for that to happen versus kind of coached forced pushing, just because when you're naturally feeling it, you tend to move the baby a lot better. So once that urge to push comes, we just kind of encourage you to trust your body and what you're feeling and take those big deep breaths and kind of bear into it as you feel like you're able to. Sometimes pushing can take a really long time, which surprises people. It can take, in a normal first-time mama, up to like 2 hours is average. Beyond that is still very, very normal, and it can take upwards of like 3 to 4 hours. So it depends just on the position of the baby and kind of maternal effort and fatigue level, how quickly that can happen. But the whole pushing stage depends how long it takes, but once the baby's kind of moving down, that's when you start to feel kind of the burning and stretching, and that's when we do a lot of hands-on coaching to kind of help the mama ease out the baby's head. That way we can hopefully avoid any tearing or anything like that that may happen. Here for a pretty standard birth, most moms deliver in the tub, some choose to be in the bed, but for a tub delivery, we do the delayed cord clamping, usually until the cord's white or stops pulsing. Which at that point we're good to kind of clamp and cut the cord, let baby go snuggle with dad while we help the mom out of the tub to the bed, just so we can look at bleeding, make sure it's not too heavy, and help her with delivery of the placenta. We always say there's no bones in it, so it seems intimidating, but it's really just tissue, nothing hard that needs to come out with it. Usually normal length of time is within the first 30 minutes. Normally will just come out on its own. The cord will start to lengthen, and we can sometimes just put a little tension on it to help it kind of come out easier. Most of the time it just comes out spontaneously on its own. Here at the birth center, since you still have mobility with not having an epidural, if it's slower to come or it's seeming like it's having difficulty coming, sometimes we'll get a mom up to a birth stool just to have gravity help, which is another benefit to having that freedom of movement. A lot of times if there's a sticky placenta, just getting up to that birth stool will just help it come right on out. Once the placenta is out, we call that the fourth stage, where you just get to hang out, snuggle your baby, get to nurse, do all that stuff if you're planning to breastfeed. Oftentimes the baby will be rooting around ready to eat, so that's where we'll help you learn how to breastfeed if it's your first baby, or help you with the latch if it's your second. Moms who choose to formula feed, we can support that however is needed as well. A typical stay here, as long as everyone's healthy, things are uncomplicated, is about 4 to 6 hours. Most of that time is just checking vitals, making sure bleeding's okay, making sure baby's transitioning to the outside well, doing the newborn exam, footprints, weight, all of that, as well as educating mom and dad on what to look for when they go home, how to make sure the baby's still transitioning well in that first 24 hours of life, and just next steps to follow. Visitors are welcome to come. We definitely recommend mom eating a good big meal before she goes home, just to replenish that energy. So oftentimes grandparents who have been eagerly waiting to meet the baby, that'll be their job, is to just come bring a meal, support the new parents, and get to meet the baby as well. And then everybody gets education on discharge and heads home.